Cornell was the last Division I lacrosse team to take the field in 2019, and they did so against upstate New York rival Hobart. It ended up being a crazy offensive battle that saw very little in the way of defense, and Cornell went on to win by a score of 19-16. The story of the game was Jeff Teat. He was quiet through the first half, but finished the game off with 6 goals and 2 assists. His line mates, Clarke, Petterson, and John Piatelli, each went for 4 goals and 2 assists. That's a bad sign for the Ivy. It's not like Hobart is the picture of defensive pimpdom, but seeing the Big Red attack unit go for 14 goals and 6 assists in a 19-goal game, that has to scare teams like Yale and Penn at least a little bit. Now, for the Cornell defense, giving up 16 goals to Hobart, that's not the picture of health either. This defensive unit, in my opinion, was playing crazy team defense by the end of last season. They put up a superb performance against Yale in the Ivy League Finals. They beat a very game Syracuse in the Dome in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They end up losing to Maryland in the quarterfinals as they were able to take away Connor Kelly, but got scorched by the young trio of Bubba Fairman, Jared Bernhardt, and Logan Wisnauskas. Good sign for the Cornell defense, they forced Hobart into 12 turnovers. Bad news, starting goalie Kalen Bullen gave up 12 goals with only 6 saves. He came up with all 6 of his saves in the first quarter and then didn't make another save until his benching with about 20 minutes left. Good news, Chase Erlin, TD's brother, only gave up 4 goals while notching 5 saves. Bullen gets the win, but Erlin looked solid in relief. I have to imagine there's a bit of a goalie situation in Cornell, despite the fact we're only 1 game in. Erlin looked that much better. Either way, the result is a Cornell win. I figured Cornell would pull this out by 6 or 7 goals. Between the sloppy defensive play and a terrible stretch by Bullen, the score looked close, but it really wasn't as close as the score would indicate. Cornell would get a 3 or 4 goal lead, and Hobart would score, but Cornell never let them get back within 2 goals after going up 8-6 in the second quarter, and the score was 19-13 with 10:38 left to play before Cornell started allowing Hobart to chip away at that lead late in the game. So Cornell was in a tough spot. Hobart's 3rd game of the year. They had already had 2 pretty big wins. Cornell now has to go on the road to play their first game of the year against a team that's already gotten out and played against some other opponents. They end up playing well. Defensively, it was sloppy. We kind of expected that. Hobart was very sloppy defensively as well, but they're playing Cornell, so that's not really speaking to Hobart's defense. Cornell is going to put a bunch of goals up on teams like this. What I was surprised about, though, was how sloppy Cornell was on defense. I think that they'll shore that up just like they did last year. Last year, they did not start out hot on defense, but they ended the season playing ridiculously good team defense. I think we'll see that out of them again. I think this was to a degree to be expected, playing against an in-state rival, playing their first game of the year, the real first game against another opponent with officials and crap actually on the line. So Hobart, though, I player hated them a little bit in the early week preview show, and it wasn't warranted in the end. They proved me wrong. They're going to be a solid team. They're going to do really well within their league. They could get themselves to 8 or 9 wins if they can just shore up a little bit of their holes on defense and get some more solid goalie play. Cornell, I'm not worried about them. This wasn't as close of a game as it looked like. In the sense that every time Cornell would go up 4 goals, 5 goals, Hobart would score 1 or 2 back, and that was partly due to poor goalie play on Cornell's side. So I think that Cornell's going to be fine. I'm interested to see how they do now, turning around and having to play again on Sunday against Lehigh. So best of luck to Cornell. Jeff Teat is a freaking animal, and Hobart, you're going to be fine. I will stop player hating you for the rest of the season as long as you keep playing like this.